There we go. It's time to hit on a hot topic. One that's probably one of the most discussed on Facebook other than cherry picking. No tip offers. I understand why some people accept these. They're hoping to get tip in cash. They're also trying to keep their status, whether it be Premier or Pro. It creates a big problem for everyone though. The more of us that continue to keep taking these offers, we are just enabling the problem itself. So think about it. I'm able to get away with something. It's a great thing, great deal. I'm probably gonna go tell a lot of my friends, right? Especially if that same mentality. I'm gonna go tell a bunch of people, more people are gonna jump on board. Over time, you're gonna have more and more of these non-tippers. And I see a lot of it on the Facebook groups, people complaining about it. Well, guess what? The more that you keep delivering those, no matter what you're doing, if you're making wait longer or whatever makes you feel better, help you sleep at night, I get it. But what I don't get is the repetitive pattern of it. It's like the definition of insanity, right? Keep repeating the same thing, expecting a different outcome. They're gonna keep not tipping. That's just the way it is. If we stop delivering those, they're never gonna get accepted. They're never gonna get delivered. They're gonna have to go elsewhere. DoorDash, Postmates, Uber Eats. So think about it, like Grubhub's one of the biggest ones where you have an opportunity to see whether they've tipped up front or not. For those that don't know, and I know a lot of people that are new aren't familiar with that. Depending on your market, like my market, it's $3.25 base delivery pay. And then you have your mileage pay beyond that. Typically anything $4 and below is no tip. And if it's a longer trip, say that you have quite a few miles on that drop off, even up to like $5 could be no tip on there. Or low tip. I mean, I've seen people tip as much as 1 cent, and you have to actually go back in there and change your tip to put it to 1 cent. Think about it. You're now enabling these people that are basically slapping you in the face in a sense and disrespecting you for what you're doing. Not everyone, not all the consumers understand what we go through and what we have to, what we're responsible for as drivers. We pay a lot more in taxes because we're 1099. We pay that as an employer, not just an employee. We also have the upkeep on our cars. I mean, there's just so many things, extra insurance. Think about if you get in an accident, right? The liability, the deductible. I mean, it's just crazy. So we rely on tips. So the more and more that people go and take these deliveries, we enable the behavior. They go and tell more people are going to jump on, especially something like Grubhub, right? And I get it. Everyone's trying to keep their status. Well, let me tell you something. Those that are trying to get catering orders, you do not have to have a high acceptance rating. Quit taking this garbage. Enough. You could throw whatever excuse you want at me, but I embrace solutions. Maybe that solution is running a different app. So those that rely on one, I know some markets are very small and slower. Maybe you have a side job. Maybe there's something you're doing in the middle when it's slower. There's so many things out there, especially with the economy so good right now. So for people to tell me that that's the only choice they have, right? It's like, oh, I can only rely on contribution, or I have to be Premier. Well, guess what? No matter what market you're in, people drop blocks every day. They wake up, they're sick, flat tire, kids are sick, a number of different things, right? And then there's all the people that are getting contribution that have their blocks force dropped. There's a pattern to this. I've already figured out the pattern in my market. I know exactly what time throughout the week where my DS is going to force drop somebody's blocks while they're under investigation. And it's like Christmas Day. You go in there and there's just tons. I mean, it's just somebody else's loss is somebody's gain. It sucks. It's an unfortunate circumstance of the job. But there's so many opportunities to pick up blocks throughout the week. So to say that you have to be Premier to get blocks is just crazy. I mean, I understand that day. I don't even worry about the scheduling anymore. And I'm partner. And they go quick for everyone, most markets. So I understand everywhere is different. There's a lot of different situations. But you have to figure out what you can and can't do. And then look at other options. You have to figure it. Is your time only worth $10 an hour before expenses? Do you realize that now the IRS, with rideshare, you had a lot of drivers that were collecting a lot of money when they were reporting all these miles, right? But they weren't making much money. They're running their business at a loss, but with that 54 cents a mile deduction, they were getting money back every tax year. Well, guess what? The IRS is cracking down on that, and they're not going to be able to do that anymore. And you might end up paying a lot more money than you want to if you're not making enough money running a profitable business. The sweet spot is about $1.50 per mile when you're adding up deductions and things like that. So back to this no tip, low tip. Generally, anything below $5 is low, no tip. So those that want to keep their, and what you can do, if you have places that are frequently just lowballing you, call up your DS, call up DC, get that merchant, get them removed completely, right? I mean, you got to fight for your rights. You got to fight for your case. If you just take it and you just do it and you accept it, and your only option you feel is to go on Facebook and rant and rave, how does that solve the problem, right? It's just it going on and on and on. It's just somebody, and it's, I get it. I get tired of seeing the complaining, because again, I embrace solutions, so I want to see everybody be more successful, right? I don't want to see these companies keep taking advantage of people. And I know some people talk about that I have no regard for some of these companies. It's because of the crap that I've been through myself and the hundreds of drivers that I've helped, and seeing how it's impacted their lives in a negative way and how it's reshaping the workforce and everything out there. Well, guess what? By 2020, they estimate 40% of the workforce will be gig economy. Yeah. So at some point there has to be some regulation, but until there is, we have to fight for our rights. We have to be smarter about the choices we make, meaning not accepting lowball and no tip offers. So I mean, everybody's different, right? Like, I won't take anything less than maybe $8, $9. It's different. Everything's situational. Everything has to be situational, right? Too many variables. But you have to figure out for yourself, what is the bare minimum you could take, what's worth your time, and how many deliveries can you get done an hour? In my market, I can get done 2 an hour on average, maybe 2.5 if I'm lucky. Again, every market's different. I know some of those places like New York City and Chicago, they can get 3 to 4 an hour, right? Totally different situations. So the way they attack and the way they're gonna go about it is different. They can have lower offers because they can get 4 an hour and still make $20 to $30 an hour, right? So you have to figure out, what do I need to make an hour? How many deliveries do I want to average per hour? Lowball, no tip offers are not gonna get you there. They're just gonna frustrate you. They're gonna piss you off, and they do nobody good. It's a lose-lose situation for everybody, because guess what? Those offers get kicked around and kicked around. Merchants get pissed off. Grubhub looks stupid. The customers eventually go off anywhere if they're getting screwed over. So think about it. Stop taking these no tip and low tip offers. And for those that just don't know what it is, I totally get it. If you get that offer, go in the information, check on the customer side, and see what the tip was down in that bottom left hand. If that is like $0 or 1 cent or something crazy like that, if it's less than 10% of what you think that order is, reassign that. In the app, you can go in there and you can reassign that offer. Some of us, like myself, they took it away. I'm not able to. I don't even do it that often. But call up DC. It's not worth your time, the headache, the frustration. Get rid of it. There's a number. If you go on my Facebook group, I'll put that number for DC. Save it into your phone. It'll be option 4. Skip customer care. Skip all the BS, the nonsense. This job can be a lot of fun if you make better choices. And the choices you make do impact the rest of us, whether you think or not. And I just kind of gave a great explanation with the tip and low tip, right? I'm going to go tell all my buddies, right? Guess what? I don't even have to tip on this app. I can get it, you know, like Postmates is great. You know, Uber Eats, the ones that you don't get tipped till afterwards, that sucks. Those ones are tough. You have to be smarter with those apps. So say that you have somewhere you go normally where you're not getting tipped at all, right? All the time. Instead of going to Facebook and bitching about it, put them on a no-fly zone, right? I have a list of merchants that I don't even go to. Grubhub, I have a bunch that I have a minimum, like Buca de Beppo the other day. I have a $20 minimum for that place because I know how long they take, right? Make sure it's worth your time. Make a list, start taking notes, look for patterns, and make this job fun, right? Power of choice and power of habit. So real quick, I'll jump on, say hi to everybody here. Look at these comments. Say learn from rideshare. Yep, rideshare set the precedent, right? Uber's basically created the playbook for how gig economy gig companies can take advantage of the workers and the general public. And that's what they're doing, right? And all these companies are just taking a page out of Uber's book. Screw the driver. Thank you, Uber. Jake, I'm going to start sending my $4 offer to you. Go ahead, because I'm going to kick it to the next person. I really laugh. I mean, my acceptance rate every day, every week is right around 5%. You can ask Nancy. It's not by on purpose. It's just where it ends up, because I don't take the BS. And my time's worth a lot more than that. Jake, the market here is still pretty new. Joe, which market? Idaho. Slow, so I'm picking up these scooters at the same time. Good, Joe. That's awesome, right? So you're making better choices. You're like, okay, I got to go do some scooters. What other hustles can I do in the meantime? I know Nancy, she does a crap ton of different things, right? Okay, it's slower here. Boom, I'm doing this, doing that. You got to figure out what you can do in your market and be efficient. That's the key. Let's see. So I'm picking up. Cam, can you please post a pic of Phoenix region map at some point? I'm in Southeast Valley and just signed up last night. Southeast Valleys is okay. Weekends are better, but you're going to want to travel closer to like Tempe and stuff during the week if you're working then, Kathy. Let's see. Goat. The goat. Cleveland. Okay. I do the same. Boise. Chicago's good for all. Yeah, Chicago's great, man. And Phoenix is a really good market, but we're pretty saturated. It's slow right now, so we're not as good as, say, like these other top cities. You know, LA, Chicago, New York City. I mean, we're top 5 in population and all that, but we're so spread out, big urban sprawl, that we don't have like a true downtown where you have all that compacted businesses, high rises, where you guys can hammer out a crap ton of offers in a short amount of time. We're pretty spread out, so we have to be even smarter out here in Phoenix about how we operate. Because I talked to a new driver the other day. She said that she had went from the West Valley all the way to Central, back east, and back. I told her, don't do that. They will take you from one end of the town to the other without even caring about it. Let's see. Chicago's good. Dropping off pharmaceuticals back later. Even, I mean, I know there's like some weed delivery in some of these places. If you're not totally against it, I don't care if you don't do it or not, there's some money in that. All of these places where there's alcohol delivery, Postmates, DoorDash, they make bank on some of those. So filter through, find those ones that have more offers or come from certain places that are going to pay out more, right? Look for those patterns. Sometimes I make more doing grocery delivery, not icy or shipped, but a local company. Nancy, so what is that company that you work for? It's always good to kind of put that information. So perfect example how Nancy, she's working all the different avenues in her market, which I think is Austin, which is kind of hit or miss at times, to make sure that she can be efficient, make the most amount of money, and she has a lot of fun doing it. You can see by some of her posts on Facebook. Deuces. All right, guys, ladies, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to put this public because I'm going to add some stuff to this video, anything I may have missed, some points that I want to touch on. I hope everyone has a great day and make that money, baby. But be safe out there. Crazies everywhere.